CQ, calling CQ, the old friends. What? The old friends net. This is N4LQ, November 4, Lima, Quebec. The name is Steve. QTH is Shelby, North Carolina. And the old friends net is an amplitude modulation net. Bring your own carrier. We are a round table type net where we pass it around to each other in order. So those wishing to check in, please call now.
Good morning, Steve, WA4LLR.
WB4NKL.
W4DCS.
W4MEC.
Well, I think somebody's trying to check in there. This is N4LQ. Any more check-ins?
Okay.
All right, here's what I got so far. WA4LLR, WB4ARK, KZ4B, K4GDN, WB4NKL, W4DCS, and W4MEC. Any more check-ins?
I'm not sure. So, give me a call if I'm here.
One more time. LLR, ARK, 4B, GDN, NKL, DCS, MEC. Listening one more time for check-ins, and then we'll start the festivities. All right, well, I guess that's about it. Well, I'm running the usual 32V3 and the 75A4 receiver, and I'm hoping to get something else hooked up here pretty soon. I'm just about done building my brand new TR switch. I'll post a picture of it on the net reflector, but it's got 3 of those nice Chinese relays in them. They're big ones though, so hopefully they'll last longer than those little blue ones. And a much bigger box and a lot of goodies on it. Even got a LED that lights up when I transmit, so it'll be a pretty cool little thing. Something like that's easy to build and doesn't take a lot of brains, which qualifies me quite well. Well, it's 52 degrees and looking for some rain, but I don't see any in sight. So let's go ahead and start the roundup. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Okay, Steve, good morning. And good signals all the way around. Let's see, we've got about 50 degrees, somewhere in that ballpark, and severe clear, as Charlie usually says. Absolutely beautiful morning out there. Running, again, the Babcock MT5B, and receiving on the RME 69. Let's see what's going on. Got some gas work today. I keep trying to retire, and people keep calling and begging, won't you come and get my stuff going? So I guess we'll go get somebody's stuff going. Anyway, buddy, hope you're doing well today. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Okay, Dave, well, I'll tell you what, the band conditions are very good this morning. Very quiet and very, very good band communications. We got everybody coming in quite strong this morning. Anyway, the weather conditions here are clear. Yep, clear here. And 51 degrees this morning at about 7:15. So we're looking for a very nice day, and we're going to kick back and take a break from the strenuous work that we've been doing for the last couple of days. So with that, we will turn it over to KZ4B, WB4ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK and the group KZ4B, fine business, buddy. Indeed, conditions do seem to be great this morning. My noise level is up a tick. I'm up around S6, which used to be unbelievably low. But anyway, I'm copying everybody great because signals are just coming in fantastic. And all audio sounds super great too. And I did note that our sideband friends are bleeding through, but it's the fact that we're so close together. I do wish that they would move another, maybe a KC away, and then we couldn't hear them, and I'm sure they couldn't hear us. But I'm on the usual T150, the one I got from Steve in today's case, and anyway, and receiving on the usual PR30, and the transmit signal is going through an AL82 Ameritron, my favorite tube amp, and which is essential for AM. I just don't trust the heat dissipation on solid state stuff. Maybe the newest, and I can't afford it to check it out, may be immune, but that may still be a pipe dream based on the poor results that Steve and myself and some others have had trying to use the solid state stuff. So, coming your way, George, K4GDN and the group KZ4B, over.
KZ4B and the group K4GDN, and I'm copying everybody real well here this morning in the third world of Myrtle Beach. Signals are fine. I'm running the Moby OMAC this morning, the AF67 and the PMR7. I'm feeding about 6 or 7 watts into the whole 811. When you're getting out about 125. The conditions seem to be really good. And I'm using the thin-fed dipole for when they're telereporting. And it's about, it was about 60 degrees here, 7 o'clock. We haven't had any rain now for a couple of days, and don't expect any for about a week or so. We had a lot last week, but got the grass cut yesterday, so it ought to be good for the rest of the season. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to you, Cliff. WB4NKL, K4GDN.
K4GDN, that's WB4NKL. Well, good morning to everybody. Got 47 degrees. It's come up a couple degrees, 45 when I come out to the shack here. It's supposed to be getting up to 73, and it's dry here like everybody else is talking about. They're talking about maybe some rain toward the weekend. Good time to get out and do some outdoor stuff. Mowing has slowed down, so I hadn't had too much of that to worry with. Dave missed you over on the earlier net. John, JPL called it. We had a slim crew over there for some reason today. He thought maybe they'd followed you somewhere. But we had a good time. I'll send it on to Doug. Talk to him over on the other frequency. Go ahead, Doug. W4 DCS, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff. WB4NKL, W4DCS. In the Camel City, good morning all. Yeah, 53 degrees here, according to my thermometer. And not much to tell. Yeah, band conditions are good. I've got some local noise that popped up right on this frequency. And yeah, I'm in a noise-prone area here, so it comes and goes. Anyway, no problem copying everybody, copying the multi-OMAC there, George, so you're the DX this morning and you're making it in here just fine, so that is the story. Charlie, here it comes, W4MEC, W4DCS.
Okay, W4DCS, W4MEC. Good morning, fellas. It's 40, what did I write down? 49 degrees here, I think, and clear. Beautiful day outside. And everybody's booming in this morning. As you can tell, I'm on the ART-13, receiving on the 129X. Yeah, the sideband was not too bad here. And I don't know, most of the time when other folks key up their carrier, it demodulates it and I can hear them, but today they were enough off frequency it didn't demodulate anything intelligible. And I heard a weak AM station in there, but he was apparently he's running the transmitter with that he had improved the audio on, and you couldn't copy him because he was all bassy. At least I couldn't copy him. He was in there, but he was very bassy and no communications quality audio, let's say, where he wasn't readable through at his weak signal level. So anyway, not a whole lot going on here. The wife's getting ready to go to Myrtle Beach for today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Come home late Saturday, and with some family friends, and I don't have to go down there, thankfully. It's not my biggest enjoyable place to vacate, and the beach is not. So anyway, back to the top. WA4LLR in the group. W4MEC.
W4MEC, N4LQ. Do we have any more check-ins to the old friends net? Call N4LQ. I don't hear anything. All right, well, that was fun. I'm sitting here listening to Charlie's ART-13 and the dynamotor whine, and I was able to use the rejection tuning on the 75A4 to notch that out. So I've got the passband tuning taking care of the sideband, and the rejection tuning taking care of the dynamotor. I tell you, I can't find anything better than this receiver for AM. And I know that Collins had sideband in mind when they came out with this, but the previous models didn't have the crystal filters or mechanical filters. Well, I guess it was an option on the 75A3, but at least I've seen a few with them in there. I don't know if Collins offered that or not on the 75A3, but I've seen them with mechanical filters built in, possibly a modification. And then when the S-line came out, they had the mechanical filters and rejection tuning, but no passband tuning, which I would sorely miss. Well, the net last night on 160 was a bust. The band was in pretty good shape, and I just had that one guy from down in Central Florida, just above Orlando, check in. And he's using an inverted L with, I think he has half a dozen radials or something on the ground, and he was doing a pretty good job actually. But that didn't last long, and so we just shut her down. But the night before we had a good crowd. So anyway, if you get a chance, come down there and join us on 160, and be glad to have you on 1864. Let's see, what else is new? I'm trying to think. Got some ryegrass coming up in the front yard in spite of the fact that it's dry. Got a little bit of dew, and that dew is keeping things going there, at least for the time being. Got a lot of deer running around and other little animals in the yard and so forth. So that's about it. So we'll go ahead and do another round. WA4LLR N4LQ.
N4LQ, WA4LLR. All right, good copy on everybody. Let's see here. And I have to agree with everybody else. So, George, the F-67 sounds good coming up from Myrtle Beach. Cliff, Doug, I apologize. I guess my senility is kicking in. This is the first time, and I don't know when, I forgot to set my alarm, so I overslept. So my apologies and thanks. I believe you said John called it. I appreciate that. But maybe I needed it. I don't know. I hate to oversleep, but I did this morning. Anyway, Charlie, enjoy hearing that dynamotor wind up on that ART-13. That's great. Let's see here. Space weather, we're waiting on about 3 CMEs to impact. So don't know if they'll come individually or come together or what, and we'll see what kind of effect that has. As far as sunspots, 106, solar flux index is 161, and the K is 1.67. So obviously they haven't reached us yet. Few items from this day in history. On this day in 1964, China joined the nuclear club, detonating their first atomic bomb. On this day in 1916, Margaret Sanger opened her first birth control clinic in Brooklyn. On this day in 1869, the Cardiff Giant was discovered in New York State. Originally thought to be a petrified prehistoric man, later revealed as a hoax, they say. On this day in 1846, William Thomas Green Morton, my goodness, he had enough names, was demonstrated the first use of ether as a general anesthetic at a meeting of physicians in Boston. And on this day in 1758, a fellow by the name of Noah Webster was born. And of course, we know as a result of that, we had the Webster Dictionary. So that's a few things from this day in history. Not too much otherwise going on. Still have some antenna projects, but I'm going to wait till the leaves get down and see if I can get a better shot at getting some string through or rope through some higher branches on some trees. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, back down to you, buddy. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. I was waiting to see if there might have been anybody else wanting to get in. Pays to give a little break there once in a while. Yes, very nice day. No clouds at all. So I think the temperature is going to climb up pretty high today. And it looks like we got a good bit of power going out to the antenna this morning. I don't know what's going on. I guess some of the leaves, branches may not be making contact with the antenna like it had been in the past. So we got a couple of small projects on the workbench today, and we'll get those going here in a little bit. For my son's wife, who has an antique shop in York, and a couple of lamps to be rewired, so we'll get that done. The other thing was pulling a feed-through capacitor out of a salvaged KWS-1 RF chassis. Butch Gibbons needs one. Is blue. And I can say that it was probably due to high voltage being too high. I suggested not running it on 248 volts. But he did, and the capacitor went. So we'll have to get him a spare a replacement, and hopefully that'll cure his problem. Hope he didn't do any other damage. That can be a costly thing when you don't adhere to the 115 volt rule of old equipment. It cannot handle modern day power lines. So with that, over to KZ4B, WB4ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK in the group KZ4B, fine business, buddy. Great signal as usual. And looks like we've got wintertime conditions today, but hopefully we don't have wintertime temperatures, so we can do a little playing outside. We managed to get our yard aerated and reseeded and all that, so that we can spend more time cutting grass. It's crazy. We spend money to grow it just so we can kill it. But anyway, speaking of line voltage, I've got a 3 kVA ferroresonant transformer that I use in the downstairs shack, and that keeps things regulated to a lower voltage, and saves me a lot of aggravation, because you're absolutely right, buddy. This older stuff, the power transformers really want to run hot, and I'm sure it's not doing the filaments any good. So in other locations, I've got a bunch of buck and boost, bucking the voltage down, because I think everything is supposed to be designed, whatever the line voltage is, that's current with the manufacturer of the unit, plus or minus 10%. And a lot of the older stuff, if you go back far enough, is not even 115. It was nominal 110. And that really stretches its survivability, or curtails it. Shifting gears, Buddy mentioned tree limbs interfering with antennas. I've got a lot of trees in my yard, mostly leafy pin oaks, and I have discovered that I'll use bare copper, I say bare copper wire, it's bare stranded copper wire for my antennas, but I snake it through this cheap poly tubing that you can get from Tractor Supply, and I think Home Depot sells it, and it's just a hollow tube, and I slipped the stranded antenna wire through that, and that way in the summertime, or fall, summer, and spring especially, when the leaves come out, they can touch the tubing, but it has less of an impact on the antenna. And also, I have used a megometer, and this stuff is rated like 30 kV. It's not going to break down, and it can be running through a very leafy location with branches touching it all over, and there's not a problem. And so like I say, this stuff is relatively inexpensive and can handle all kinds of voltage because it's designed, of course, for electric fence wire. So on that note, I will pass it on over to George, and George, you're coming in quite nicely today. Conditions are excellent. K4GDN in the group, KZ4B over.
KZ4B in the group, K4GDN. And everybody's coming in here still pretty well. And I'm also receiving on the 75A3 speed, and it's got both personal and mechanical filters. And then the one I've got two mechanical filters. I've got the standard 3KC one, which came with it, but there's also been a second one put in, which looks like it was a homemade filter, but it seems to work fine. Anyway, that's the case of the 75A3, and I do like it. It's a nice receiver. And buddy, something might be going on with your antenna. I'm hearing something intermittent, and also I can see it on the scope. Somebody else might comment about that, particularly at first when you came on in your signal. And it may be in the output somewhere because it does show up on the scope as the carrier power going down somewhat intermittently. Other than that, it's clear here in Myrtle Beach today, and like I said, it was about 60 when I got up this morning at 7 o'clock, and it looks like it's going to be a good day to ride the motorcycle a little bit. I've pretty much got the Harley Sportster going, and the only thing I might do later on is I may change the handlebars. It's got what I call buckle bars on it now, not ape hangers, but I might like to go with a set of slightly straighter bars. Anyway, with that, I'm going to pass it on to Cliff. WB4, and somebody else might comment on Buddy's signal. It may be just me. So Cliff coming to you. WB4NKL in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, it's WB4NKL. I didn't notice anything with Buddy's signal, but he's strong here. You're coming in good with the LMAC equipment. George, good signal into Tennessee. I guess we're probably the furthest apart of any of the stations on here, but you're coming on through. Steve, I'm going to have to give the 75A4 another shot. I hadn't had it hooked up in a while, but you keep bragging on them, so I've got one over here. It's got the 6KC filter, and it takes a little more room than the 75S3, but I'll try to make some room and give it a shot again. Dave, he's talking, going over the history. I remember having the ether treatment when I was about 6 years old. Had my tonsils taken out, and they used ether to put me to sleep, and I still remember that smell. I'd walk by dry cleaners or something, and catch a whiff of it. It took me back to the to the hospital room, but I don't think they use that stuff anymore. And John, as far as that sounds like a good idea on the insulation. Here I usually just crank the power up a little bit, burn the leaves off. That seems to do pretty good too. So I'll send it on to Doug, W4DCS, WB4NKL.
Yeah, WB4NKL in the group, W4DCS. All right, guys. Yeah, I've got wire through the trees here, and I've had good luck, long-term good luck with the Davis RF Flex Weave. It's done well for me running through the trees, and yeah, I had a 75A4. I sold it. Picked it up in Charlotte years ago and ended up letting it go. I sold it at Dayton a couple of years ago. So I've got a 32V3 with a nice 75A1. Nice match set. I'd love to find a new home for it. And make somebody a very reasonable deal. If anybody's interested, I'd like to sell them as a pair. It's also got the watt meter that goes with it. Dial key mounted on the back, so it's a turnkey setup. Well, anyway, not much else to tell here. I'm on the infamous fuse-blowing DX100. I think I finally solved it, but every time I say that, if I key down long enough, it blows the fuse, so we'll see. It's got an 8 amp fast blow in it. And that's the story here. Not much else to tell. I'll go ahead and say 73 on this one. And Dave, no worries. You get a pass, buddy. You've been so consistent and faithful that you can take the day off whenever you want to. I didn't get down here till 7:30. I've been having trouble waking up myself. I don't use an alarm. Janet usually, well, Riley gets me up. He's ready to, 6 o'clock or so. He starts bugging me because he wants to go eat and start the day. So it's a problem sleeping in, but I've managed to do it here lately, so don't feel bad. Steve, thanks for calling that great signal into Winston-Salem. Charlie, here it comes. W4MEC, W4DCS, 73, guys.
Okay, Doug, W4DCS and the group W4MEC. Real good. Good copies. Sideband was a little more QRME on me this time. I actually had to cut in the crystal selectivity and adjust the phasing on the 129X. That cured that. It's funny, I was copying Steve there, and I thought something was going wrong. This is another going wrong thing. Going wrong with his audio. It started kind of muffling out, and I said, well, hold on, tuning? Let me tune this. And then he came in okay. Then I put him back on frequency, and he was a little muffled. I said, what's going on here? Then it dawned on me that his signal was coming up so big he was overriding my AVC. So I backed the RF gain down, and everything came back perfectly. And I've got an AVC problem in this 129X. I'm sure it's those 1.1 and 1.2 or 2.2 meg resistors in there. I'm probably getting a little sloppy. It's been recapped. I recapped this is Uncle Dick, K4, or rather N4 YVL's primary receiver he used, and I recapped it for him and lined it. When he blew it up, he transmitted into the 40-meter RF coil, and it's a crispy critter. But I took it out and looked very close at it, and it wasn't pi wound, and it wasn't a tight wound. It actually had just a minimum bit of space between each turn. So I just kind of used a wire brush and cleaned all of the burn up varnish off the form bar wire, cleaned it all up and gave it a coat of clear spray paint and put it back in there. It worked fine. So, but I'll have to open it up. Maybe I didn't get into AVC that deep back on that time. So let's see. Dave's comment about Sanger opening up the first birth control clinic. You know, we mentioned, had a little fun with, what's his face's environmental book, An Unconvenient Truth. Well, there's an unconvenient truth to Margaret Sanger's plan, and her plan was the sterilization, you know, and the termination of the children of black people. That was her focus, was to control the procreation. But that's something that when they praise Planned Parenthood, they seem to like to forget that little factoid there. So you can fire that back at anybody that sings their praises, that's for sure. So anyway, and Dave wasn't doing that, he was just pointing it out. What else we got here? Sorry about the dynamotor. The sun's coming. The sun just popped over the window frame here and is blasting me. I got like what was the lumen output of the sun? 17 trillion. Well, I got about half of that shining in the shacks. And I don't know why I sent it back to Dave. Technically, he was at the top of the list, but it should have gone to Steve. N4LQ W4MEC.
Okay. Any ultra late stations like to check in call? No, I didn't hear anything. This N4LQ. I saw some article this morning about a comet that's supposed to arrive. It seemed like they said the 21st of this month or something that's closer than the moon, and I don't believe that, but that's what I saw. There's so many things on Facebook now these days that you can't believe half of it. Anyway, Margaret Sanger, yeah, I'll tell you. I've heard the same story. Let's see, Doug's got a 32V3 75A1 for sale, and I highly recommend that. 75A1 was my first good receiver back in 1964, and I found a nice one that was, of course, even then in 64, it was probably, well, 15 years old, something like that. So I think it came out in the 48 or 9, so it was pretty old then. And somebody mentioned ether, and boy, that was Cliff. And I had the same treatment for my tonsils. And I can remember the dream or the hallucination that I had, and it was absolutely horrible. And I'll probably never forget it, and the odor still haunts me. And for years, when I had this done when I was like in the 6th grade, I believe, it was a fad. They were just ripping tonsils out. Every time a kid got a sore throat, well, let's pull his tonsils out. That was the big fad back then. And if they felt like it, they'd take your adenoids out at the same time. But we had this closet in the hall, and I would open that up, and they had painted that with some kind of latex paint, but there's something about that paint that smelled to me just like ether. And every time I'd open that closet, I'd just about pass out from the stink, and that I just looked it up to see, and it's latex paint does contain glycol ethers, but I don't think that's the same kind of ether they were using. But they put that mask over your face, and that is just suffocating. I am so glad they quit using it. But let's see, Buddy's audio. Well, Buddy, I heard a scruffing sound for a while there when you first started talking. It sounded like you hadn't shaved for a few days and the microphone was scraping on your face or something. But it cleared up. I think it's probably maybe a mic cable or something that's making a little scratchy sound every now and then. No big deal. Now, KZ4B, I'm trying to envision your wire with a piece of tubing on it, trying to get it through a tree, and I'm the first thing that comes to mind is, like, how did you know where to put the tubing? I guess you had to estimate where it goes and then pull it down and slide the tubing over the wire. And then the next thing that piqued my curiosity was, how do you keep the tubing from sliding its position on the wire as you're dragging it through a tree? And then the last thing, of course, was, why not just use insulated wire instead, and with the same kind of insulation? I don't know, you said it was poly. I looked it up on Tractor Sales. It's like $35 for a roll of, let's see, American Farm Works. Yeah, it's 30. Well, actually, it's only $24. 50 foot of tubing for 12.5 gauge wire. So $25. That's $1. Well, it's 50 cents a foot or something. So yeah, it's not all that bad. But now I use their insulated 4-inch finned insulators. They're tubing with fins on it. I use that for spreader insulators with wire tie through them to hold the wire on each side, and that works really good. Good old Tractor Sales. So I say I'll go ahead and pass it around at least one more time. I guess this will be our 73 round, and we still got plenty of time. There's no big rush. So over to Dave, WA4LLR. And by the way, Dave, I don't think anybody can hold a candle to the work you do on gas lines. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WA4LLR. Well, I had a friend that used to. He'd check for leaks with a cigarette lighter. Oh, me. It's funny. You know, a lot of the old-time gas techs did that. I know people get scared absolutely to death if you say, I'm going to check for a leak and pull out a cigarette lighter, but the truth is, if the system's under positive pressure, if it does light, it's not going to go back inside it. I don't recommend it. The only time you get in real trouble is if you're in a confined area with a high concentration of vaporized propane, and then you flip a lighter, then you're going to have some fun. But checking for a leak in a line, you're probably not going to get in too much trouble, even if it lights. Oh, me. But nah, I don't use that technique. Anyway, let's see here. So far, I think, I was trying to remember back, God's mercy, I didn't have to have my tonsils out, and I never had ether. When I was 15, I broke 2 bones, and they put me out to set those, but they didn't use ether. I don't know what they used back then, but I know I couldn't think clear for about a week after I came around. But in the more recent years, whatever they're using now, I mean, I wake up clear-headed and just feel like I've had a good restful nap. So the quality of anesthesia has sure improved over the years. Well, I don't have much more here, so I'll say 73. God bless, and Steve, thanks for calling. And Lord willing, we'll see all of you Sunday. So, buddy, here it comes. And I didn't detect anything on your signal, but you're loud and sounding real good here, but I was having a little bit of sideband splatter, so maybe there was something, but I sure didn't hear it. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Okay, Dave, thanks for the notice, and thanks everybody else for giving me a heads up on this possible noise. Well, It could be this microphone, a D104. I was speaking very close to it, and it could have been that. I don't know. Does anybody know where you can purchase the wire, the Davis RF Flex wire? Does anybody know where that can be located this day and time? Doug mentioned that, and I was wondering if someone might know about it. It would be a help, because even, even if you have leaves or branches that are touching your hot side, you know, when you feed your antenna, the center conductor is feeding the hot side to the antenna, and depending on which end of the, let's say you're using a dipole, which end you're connecting that to is going to have more RF on it than the other end, the grounded side, the shield side. So, with that said, I usually keep my RF away from the house. The antenna partially goes, one end of the antenna goes into a tree which is fairly close to my radio room. I'd say 25, 30 feet away, 30 feet, let's say, horizontally, and vertically about 50, 60 feet. So it's not too bad, but I like to keep the RF away from my personal area as much as possible. So that puts a RF part in the tree furthest from the house, and I'd say about 10 maybe feet of it might be touching the limbs of the tree at times, and so as soon as the tree branches out in the spring, it becomes more of a problem. And actually, if I'm using my high-powered rig, it burns it back. But with the ART-13, it doesn't burn the limbs as much, or branches, leaves. So it's a little bit lower power, but it would be. It does affect the SWR to some degree, which I can take care of that with the transmatch. So I've got it down to 0 SWR, or 1-to-1, and but it would be nice to have something that would not actually interfere with the antenna itself. And I guess that's about it. Oh, the ether. Yeah, I had ether when I had my tonsils up, and then I began to have a problem with my ear. One of my ears would have a problem during the winter, and I had to have my ear lanced 3 times one year, and each time they used ether to put me under just enough so that they could lance it. And but the last time the doctor asked me, I think he made a mistake. He said, "Would you rather not have ether this time?" I said, yes. Don't use ether. So anyway, he decided, no, it's going to hurt too much and you're liable to move. I think we better give you a small amount so that you won't feel it. So I did feel it, but it wasn't that bad. So anyway, that's the story with ether, and that's the last time I had ether. So the modern day injections are much better. So over to KZ4B, WB4 ARK.
Okay, WB4 ARK in the group, KZ4B, fine business there, buddy. I didn't have a problem with ether. My problem was Novocaine. I've always had fairly lousy teeth, plus I tried to eat a 2.5-ton flatbed truck that ran a red light, and broke my jaw in 5 places. That didn't help my tooth situation either. But when I was a kid, I told the dentist that I did not want Novocaine, and he was going to pull some teeth. And he asked my mom, he said, well, you know, this is not a wise request. What shall I do? And she said, well, follow his instructions and you will cure him. And that's exactly what happened. He pulled the teeth without any Novocaine, and then I decided that, well, maybe Novocaine, as bad as it is pretty good stuff. So from there on out, I was in with Novocaine and out with insane pain. So there. Shifting gears to answer Steve's question, regular insulated wire like MTW, which is what I use on my open wire feeders, and that's insulated. That's only like 600 volt wire. And when you get out, and 600 volts is fine on a feeder, but when you get out toward the end of the antenna, you can be talking thousands of volts, especially under QRO conditions. So that poly tubing is rated for at least 30,000 volts for electric fences. So it's not going to arc through. And so I cover the wire with that. Even stranded wire, that poly tubing is so slick that even stranded wire, if it doesn't have kinks in it, will easily, you can feed it in from one end and it'll go the whole length of a dipole, even 160 meter dipole. Now, to answer Steve's question, how do you hold it in place? Sometimes, depending on the tree situation, I will cover the whole end of a dipole, and from the center insulator all the way to the end. And what I do is, if I have to splice the 50-foot sections, I use a heat shrink that's got the it's kind of a waxy substance that's inside, and that will splice the two and with a waterproof splice. And if I'm just using the tubing over one section, if you put the heat shrink with a waxy stuff inside on either, if it's a V, you just need to put it on the high end. If it's level, you need to put it on both ends to make it waterproof. And that will keep it from sliding using the appropriate heat shrink tubing. And you don't need a very long length of heat shrink tubing because you just right at the ends. And I've had very good luck with that. You know, it's designed, what they do with the electric fences is typically it's at gates. So it's designed for direct burial. So they feed the electric fence wire through the tubing, and it's actually underneath, buried under the ground at the various gates. And so it's very, very high voltage resistant wire. And I guarantee you there's no problem with that stuff. And so there. Thanks for calling the net, Steve, and enjoyed it this morning as usual. And I overslept on Tuesday, meant to make it, but I stayed up very late on Monday evening watching TV, and when that happens, I can't get, I don't want to wake up. I want to get my beauty sleep. Anybody that's seen me knows that I should not skip beauty sleep, although it probably does little to no good. So, let's see, it goes to George. If you're still in there, I can't remember. If not, Cliff, pick it up. K4GDN in the group, KZ4, be clear but listen.
KZ4B in the group, K4GDN. Yeah, we're still here. And, buddy, I didn't hear anything that last time, and it may have been a microphone issue, the other transmission. And as far as the voltage to my older equipment, I bumped my voltage down a little over 6 volts. Got some solar transformers there, if I can fire or anything, particularly when I'm using, when I've changed to solid state rectifiers, I like to buck it down with the older equipment. And as far as the wires on the antennas, I use insulated wire, and I agree with John about the voltage being high on the ends, but I've never really had any problems. And as far as the feeder, which side of the parallel feeders or the balanced feeders are hot, I'm not sure which one it is because I'm using Johnson tuners, and neither one of the wires is grounded with the balanced tuner. And if I'm going to use a 10-tank tuner, I'm going out through a balance. And I don't really pay much attention which side is hot and which one's not, or at least I never have. And ether, yeah, in 1952 when I had my tonsils out, I had ether. That was really not any fun. I sure didn't like it. And I can't remember what happened when I had my appendix out 5 or 6 years later, but I do remember the ether when I had my tonsils out, and I didn't like it. Well, I think that'll be about it for me from here. Steve, thanks for calling the net. And I don't know if I'll be in on Sunday or not, but if not, I'll be back on Tuesday, hopefully. So, Cliff, it's coming to you. WB4 NKL in the group, K4GDN. 73, guys.
Okay, George, K4GDN, it's WB4NKL. I believe the band's changing. I copied that time, but not as strong as the previous transmissions. Yeah, good deal. It sounds like everybody's unanimous on not wanting any more ether. But yeah, I think they got away from that years ago. Davies mentioned and checking for propane leaks with a lighter or match. The first time I ever met DB Honeycutt, WB4BRV, he checks in with us there on the over the hill gang. I met him years ago. He worked for a commercial firm, and they maintained the heating system, heat and air on the office building I worked in over in Irwin. And I went down in the basement there one day, and he was working on or checking for leaks, and that's what he was using was a lighter. And I never had heard of that before, but I tried to keep my distance from him there for a while. But evidently that's something pretty common that went on back in the day, and he's 90 years old, so I guess he knew how to do it. He never did blow himself up that I know of. 73s, and enjoyed it. Thanks for calling it, Steve, and we will try to catch everybody there Sunday, if not before somewhere. Go ahead, Doug. W4DCS, WB4NKL.
he checked out. Well, I was waiting for the official word. WB4NKL in the group. W4MEC. All right. When they used to use ether, I've never had to use that, and I never had any kind of surgery required until I was an adult in my 50s, something like that. And didn't they have to put Vaseline around your mouth because it would burn when they put the cup on your mouth or something like that? Let's see. My wife goes through Novocaine, and once they administer it to her, she numbs up really quickly and starts coming out of it by the time a dentist gets there to do any work, and she will tell them it's worn off, and they don't believe her. And one time they started to work on her, and I think she almost hit the dentist in the nose, but it basically convinced him that the Novocaine was not working, and she was coming out of it. And they have learned since that you got to zap her pretty good with the Novocaine. Leak testers. I'm sure some of you have seen the Freon leak tester that used a butane, or rather. Well, I don't know. It used a flame like out of a propane cylinder, the little ones you use for plumbing work, and it had a flame and a little semicircle cup thing, and you'd slide that along a Freon line, and if you had a leak, the flame would change color there. So I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but checking for a propane leak with a lighter just seems kind of like checking, crates of dynamite with a candle or something. Let's see. I think that's about. That was the other thing, that when I did get knocked out with the new stuff, I think it was done 3 times over from 2000. I got 3 different surgeries from 2004 to 2006. And one of the things that's scary about it was that I didn't dream. At least I could remember no dreams. I just remember going out, count back from 100. I get to about 92, and that was it. And when I woke up, and here I was. And each time I remember absolutely no dreams, and it's kind of like being dead, So, but the 3 times it happened, nothing. So maybe some people have great dreams when they get knocked out like that, but not me. So. Anyway, we'll see you fellas. What is this? Thursday. We'll see you fellas Sunday, and I'm gonna try and make the net tonight. I couldn't make it last night, Steve, but I'll try and make it tonight. And when you were calling CQ this morning, I heard you were almost about to go CQ, the old friends. What? And you were gonna say 160. I know it, but you caught yourself. So thanks for running the net. We'll see y'all later. N4LQ 73 all W4BC.
Yeah, I got to remember to divide by 2, 80-meter net. Yeah, actually 75 meters isn't until you get up to like almost 3.9 megahertz. So technically this is an 80-meter net. All right. Boy, I hope you guys don't blow yourself up. And ether is bad stuff. I think it caused all kinds of problems. A lot of people got sick from it. No, my mother was highly allergic to Novocaine, and she just about died one time. But so they couldn't use it on her, and she, from her 40s on up, she had it done, all the teeth work done without any painkiller. I don't know how she did it. She was tough, I guess. All right, well, thanks everybody for checking in. I hope you can make it tonight to the 160 fiasco, 8 o'clock. See y'all later, 73s. Have a good day. This is N4LQ closing the Old Friends Net.